Hey everybody, we're back here with some more Citizen Sleeper. Sorry about last episode, I had some weird audio issues, but I think we're doing okay now. We should be good. Last time we were just about to hit a deadline, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I think I remember what happens. It's been a long time since I played this game, and I played it at release. So I didn't even know about the DLC characters. Those two that were like taking supplies to those refugees. I never knew any of that. So I'm excited to figure that out, hopefully. First of all, we need to do some stuff, right? Isn't today the day? We were waiting on the Overlook Bar. I don't think we're going to get to, though. Emphis! Yeah, okay, we get Emphis. We only have one upgrade point, so there's technically nothing we can do. Interesting. Let's go ahead and do Emphasis thing. Emphis is preparing the gyro caps. He has had to heavily adapt his recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish-white bulb you have never seen before, and he is slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms, and then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb in the oil. They caramelize there, in that well-worn crucible. He adds liquids, transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. We have a moment, Sleeper, he smiles. Do you have a story? Something in the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. It seems like the story should match that feeling somehow, and maybe you will feel better for telling it. Let's recall our oldest memories. You start by explaining that when you are emulated from a person, many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps it is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable, or perhaps it is a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You admit that you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and on that occasion they come back to you like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which, despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think it familiar, it always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and then how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you have forgotten something important, but just can't bring it to mind. Emphis nods throughout, cooking as he does with deft and skillful movements. You start to trail off when you realize you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do feel like both yours and somehow someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. The sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Emphis finishes cooking and meets your eye. I'm sorry, Sleeper, for your troubles. He puts the wok to one side. I appreciate you sharing with me, he smiles. I hope it lightens you a little. He passes you a bowl and heaps the gyros into it, their yellow color mixing with the pale sauce in whirls and blooms. Eat. The dish is delicious, filling. It warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that SNARP left you with this pleasure. Many of the features of frames are there to simulate human experience. You know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. That is why you breathe even when you do not need air. Without that stimulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power, so much is wasted, and yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing feels wasted. It all means something to you. As you finish, Emphis takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back into the bright market. Somehow changed. That's a good one. That's a really good one. We are gonna take a look around before we leave. I'd love to be able to talk. One more cycle. Go back to the ferry, maybe? I believe it's time to go. Yeah, it's time to go. Let's just see. There is a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They are waiting at the cordon, where Cella security are checking the crew in to board the ship. Those that manage to get up to the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know their chance of getting on board is long gone. Lem! Lem spots you among the crowd. Sleeper, we're here. They are standing beside a bag which looks to carry all the possessions they have. It is small enough to be carried in one hand. You ready? Lem smiles nervously. Well, I guess so. He hefts the bag. I hope they'll let us take this on board. Got our whole life in here. You hand over the Cella's ID film to Lem, keeping your own. He turns it back and forth in the light. Where did your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? Looks like my old Conway ID. You look, and a shimmering younger Lem stares out of the film, harder and clean-cut. I spoke to the guard here. He nods to the white and green-clad security officer. They'll be doing orientation and role assignment on board. Sounds like we're going to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? That's funny. Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID. As you lift the film up to the light, you see something strange, something that makes you flinch. The face printed in the film is one you recognize immediately. But it is not you. At least, it is not how you look now. You squint at the ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. It's a picture of you remember being taken, a memory that you didn't know you had. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember the SNARP employee who helped you in, her smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place, thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in an SNARP facility, that won't wake up until you are recovered and disposed of. And now you are leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper? Lem interrupts your thoughts. These guys want us to board. You stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to you both to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them. Steadying yourselves on the guarded rail, you hang back, letting Lem present his ID film first. The guard slides across a white machine, much like the one Castor printed from. You reflexively rub the puncture mark on your hand. Even though there is no trace of it now, it seems to be your destiny to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you are coming. The guard beckons you closer. Let's go. You shake off your doubts and hand over your ID film. The guard barely looks at it as they pass it through the scanner and wave you through. A new life built from old things. You okay? Lem asks, concerned as you catch up with them. You are so slow, robot, Mina teases, grabbing at you with small hands. Just making sure. Lem nods and you realize how much harder it must have been for him to cross that threshold. Mina struggles in his arms, trying to get to you, and Lem relents, struggling with both the bag and his daughter. Mina tumbles through the microgravity and grabs onto your clothing for purchase, pulling yourself into your arms. You all proceed up the walkway, the entrance to the docking bridge yawning wide and above you. Are we family, robot? Mina asks as you move, taking you by surprise. I guess so. Mina smiles and presses her head against your chest, pleased by your answer. You keep moving, up into the docking bridge, then along that thin, glass-walled connector, all the time Mina clutching onto you. The lack of gravity means you can feel her weight. You can't feel her weight. Only the grip of her small hands on your clothes. You both stare wide-eyed at the vast hull of the sidereal horizon, and try to think of this huge machine as a home. Later, when you settle in your bunk, after Mina has finished running back and forth between you and Lem with an endless and infectious excitement, you find yourself looking at your ID film once more. Somehow, since the last time you looked at it, the image seems to have changed. It is still a picture of the old you, the person that signed up to have their consciousness copied and placed into the ownership of SNARP, but something else has crept into the image, an underlying sense of self-identification. This is also a picture of you. You now. The you that survived the eye, that made friends here, that found a way out, that escaped against all odds. The other you might never wake up, they might never live again. But so be it. They can co-sign you to a doomed life for their own gain. Their life is yours now. You will live it better than they ever could. You lie back on your bunk as the thrust of the side reel's vast engines kick in. This feeling, this rumble, will be your constant companion for the next decades. It will be there when you work, when you watch Mina grow, when you dream of the planet at the end of the journey. It will stay with you when your body starts to fail despite the best attempts of Lem and Mina as the years stack up and it exceeds its safe operating period by a decade. It will be the thing you wake up to in those rare moments of consciousness, between which Mina will keep you in a frozen state in the hope of preserving you until your destination is reached. It will still be there when Mina wakes you, tears in her eyes to tell you of Lem's inevitable death, and it will not relent despite your desire for a moment of silence. It will be the final thing you hear as Mina shuts down all but the most vital of your functions in hopes beyond hope that you make it to your final destination, all the while doubting that you will. But for now, in this moment of departure, it is still a new sound, a new feeling, and because of this, it is filled with the promise of the future. And so you settle back on your bunk and close your eyes, and in moments you are sleeping a perfect, dreamless sleep, the most peaceful that you can ever remember. Huh. Wait a minute. I I feel like there's so much more I need to do. I mean, I gotta go talk to Ankita. I want to figure out what to do with this seed. There's a lot of things I haven't done. There's a lot I haven't seen yet. I still gotta help out those refugees. You wait for a moment. You need to wait for a moment. This is all happening too fast. Changing too much. There are so many questions you have, so many threads to catch hold of, and yet here you are boarding a ship to who knows where on a journey that will take decades. Is this really what you want? How will you even survive? You suddenly feel dizzy, unsettled. You can make out the concerned look on Lem's face as you hold back. The guard gestures again. Mina's eyes, looking back at you, are so bright in the starlight. You can't do it. You can't get on that ship. You turn away quickly, trying not to look at Lem, to look at Mina, to meet their eyes. You turn away and kick off hard from the guardrail. When you reach the far wall, you turn back. The scene continues in front of you as if nothing has changed. The next set of people are boarding. The crowds are still gathered at the cordon. The side rail horizon still blinks, its yellow hull bright against the stars. And there are Lem and Mina, gliding up towards the docking bridge, bag in hand. Lem is facing away, focused on the steady climb, but Mina is in his arms and is facing back towards you. You watch her face, confused, sullen, but twinkling with a growing excitement as Lem carries her forward. As you watch Mina, you think about your future, about the future you might choose. You know one thing's for certain, that the future is on the eye. You no longer have any enthusiasm for being carried forward by the dreams of others, for grand futures that unfold like angelic wings across the horizon. The future is being made now, on this spinning ring, among its people and its systems. You are sure of that. But as you watch, Mina disappears into the entrance of the sidereal horizon. And much later, when you watch the ship pull away, you feel a sense of longing. A longing to be carried, not by the systems that spin the suns, or by the corporations that run the colonies, but by love towards an uncertain future, just as Mina was. That, you think, is the future you wish to make here, on Erlin's Eye. A strange choice. Castor stands beside you at the rail, watching the pinpricks of light from the sidereal horizon's drives disappear. Perhaps not unexpected. You turn to look and Castor is beaming at you with an unsettling warmth. Aren't you angry? About what? He squeezes your shoulder. I only wish for you to exercise that strong drive of yours. If it happens to align with my own, then that is pleasing to me. But if it does not, I cannot punish you. What about Celis? Castor looks out to the stars. Indeed, that is a matter which worries me. Senator Celis has taken a step back from the public eye. It seems some internal struggles are playing out within their pristine halls, Castor sighs. But I doubt core politics are of much concern to you. Castor moves down along the rail. The eye, though, that seems to be your primary concern. Am I right? I have unfinished business. He pats you on the back. Don't we all? It is the nature of life to leave things unfinished. I have many more projects that I can count, so many games still to play and things to learn. May your future cycles be as fruitful as my own. Castor turns and starts to clunk away in his mag boots. I will be keeping an eye on you, if you don't mind, Sleeper. He waves as he walks. My curiosity remains piqued. Once he leaves, you stay a little longer at the rail watching the stars. Imagining the look on Mina's face when she sees Celis, one for the first time. Imagining the excitement when she first touches its soil. The joy when she first stands outside in the rain laughing. Those images, though they will not happen for decades, are what will carry you through this cycle, and perhaps the next one too. Wow. We still have things to do. Now we have to bring in Matsutake caps. The aviary would be the perfect place to grow mushrooms with some work, that is. That's true. Alright, I think it's time to go join the commune. Just only one upgrade point. Here's the aviary. This is where I find mushrooms, right? Interesting. Maybe I should try to join the commune. Let's do it. Let's go for it. Just one more and we're good to go. I'm going to use one of my lower ones on it because there's safe. There we go. So now that I'm a member, there's a couple things I can do. I can work to get energy. That's sick. I have a dorm now. Nice. I can gather scrap out here if I need it. That's good to know, actually. I have a lot of stabilizer. Holy crap. I kind of want to try to get some spores. We got one. Let's try again. That's okay. We got one. Want to go ahead and drop some spores in. That's kind of what I want to work on now. I am still looking for Matsutakis, though, so that's going to be important for me. And then I guess we'll come over here and we'll talk to whoever this is. You head down into the Haifa compound, following a blue painted line that is labeled Laboratories. The member you were assigned to work with told you they'd asked to see you, but you still have no idea what about. The line takes you to a blue door, and through to a glass-roofed chamber where a network of stems and leaves filters the sunlight coming through the ceiling, casting the whole chamber in a strange yellow-green. Peaceful, isn't it? Distracted by the green, you miss the woman standing at a lab bench, camouflaged by the dappled light, Welcome to my sanctuary, she smiles. Come, let's talk, she says as she beckons you closer. Who are you? Of course, my apologies. He offers a hand to shake. I'm Rico. I run the botany program at Haifa. What's Haifa? She looks surprised. You've been working in the compound for a while now. I'm surprised you don't know more. She lifts a tiny sample jar, yellow spores dancing inside. Haifa lives off the land of the Greenway. It's what allows us to live like we do. No one here pays or is paid. We sleep here. We feed each other. We work for each other. Rico walks away from the bench and waves for you to follow. She opens a small door and leads you down a glass corridor surrounded by vivid green. All this, she says, gesturing at the overgrowth. It's a kind of miracle. She looks at you with bright eyes. What do you think usually happens to the plants on stations like this when they're abandoned? They keep growing. If only that was true. No, they do not. They dry up and then they die. She leads you left at a crossroads. But here they endured. She smiles to herself. Actually, no, they thrived. You look at the bright tendrils wrapped around the metal frames of the corridor. They look dominant, strong, like they're taking control of this place. Rico continues. Of course, Solheim tried to create a stable biosphere here, patchworking the surface with gardens and algae tanks that fielded into the network of microbial reclamation systems. But the Greenway was always envisioned as an extractive, a place from which the harvest is removed and sold to those living on the station. Not a closed loop. For this reason, when the collapse came, the Greenway should have gone with it. Erlen himself was so convinced of it that his first colony never even came here to try to reclaim it. The Eye instead relied on outside favors and influences, shipments from the inner system, and small-scale agricultural systems to, like, kelp and fungal farm stacks. And yet here we are, among growth and decay, a biosphere flourishing. When Haifa came here, we expected to find only vacuum-dried stalks and leaves, and perhaps some fungal colonies hidden in the mulch. But we found a jungle. With this, Rico hits a button on the wall and leads you through a large pair of double doors into a huge, impossible chamber. It is every kind of green, from the pale algae tanks to the dark vines that surround them. It is wet, too, a rarity on the Eye. Condensation clouds the light from the high glass roof and gathers on the shiny, broad leaves of shrubs. How? That is exactly our question. Rico turns to you, visibly excited by the room you're both standing in. It doesn't make sense, but in many ways the system is stabilized. Unlike the farm stacks closer to the gap, who need input to support their meager output, this place runs itself. Perhaps Solheim managed something new here. Perhaps they tweaked the plants or built new systems buried deep below us. Or perhaps their collapse caused some fortunate cascade, an unlikely chemical reaction within the biosphere. That's what I'd like you to help me find out. She turns to you, her forehead wet with dew. Me? Yes, you. Rico sits on a railing. These halls run deep, Sleeper, and I'm getting old. She stamps her foot on the metal grating of the walkway. Whatever is causing this, it's to be found in the groves deep in the Greenway. Haifa won't spare anyone for an expedition. It's too dangerous and unnecessary, they say. I can make the case, but I can't get the votes. You Sleepers are hardly beings, I know that much, and you can speak to the Eye, uncover its secrets, in ways I never can. She holds out an arm so you can help her stand. Bring me samples, spores, seeds, and blooms. I can grow them in the lab and study them. The deeper they are found, the better. Okay. Thank you, she smiles. And thank you for listening. Rico leads you back out of the huge chamber and up through the passages. She's a little slower now and stumbles on the steps. You help her where you can. It's good to have new blood in the commune, she says. Many of us have been here a long time and few come through. She settles back at her bench in the lab, stretching her legs. You go to leave. Come back if you find something, Sleeper, she calls. There are discoveries to be made. And you follow the blue line back up out of the compound, all the time thinking of that impossible, magical green. We have a new drive! I am out of energy. I got some things to do, so, I mean, I guess we have a new place to sleep. We'll sleep here. So, I need to deliver spores. Damn, I need a lot of spores. I guess we're gonna go spore hunting for a while. Let's end our cycle. So we gotta go back to the bar and check things out, see how they're doing. We need more energy, too. And of course, we need to talk. You spot Ankita on the track to the farm stack. She has a box on her shoulder and is working her way down the slope. She sees you as she approaches. Neither of you speak for a moment. She looks tired, pale. Her hair is tangled and clumps of dirt cling to her armor. You both eye each other. Sleeper. She takes a deep breath. I'm sorry for what happened. Truly I am. She looks down. I'm sorry you ended up in the middle of this, when all you have shown me is kindness. She rubs her face. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can... Do I forgive her? Like, would the sleeper forgive her? Well, we did just lose our only family. With Lem and Mina. She nods, then looks up to the stars. I've never... She stops herself. Thank you. Ankita shifts the weight of the box on her shoulder. I've been preparing for... She grimaces. Look, she sighs. Can you come with me? It's easier if... If what? You see it. She finishes. It's just down the way. Ankita lids on down the dirt path between the pillars. There is a wind passing through the greenway, a quirk of the air currents the biosphere maintains, and it ruffles the leaves softly. The sound makes the silence more obvious, more complete. You try not to think of the last time you were here. You've been trying not to think of it for the past few cycles. The image of the sleeper, sprawled, twisted open, connected to the ship mind, has been hard to forget. You realize Ankita is leading you back there. Back to the drum at the center of the stack. You pause, trembling a little at the threshold. She turns. What are you doing? She looks at you with empty eyes. What needs to be done? You stand on the threshold and look up at the tanks, green and wet, some glowing with flickering grow lamps. You look down at Ankita, suddenly so small under this hulking ruin. The smallest she's ever looked. She places the box down. I gotta see. You follow Ankita into the stack through a low tank, entering the drum at ground level. It is just as beautiful as you remember, but it barely touches you. Instead, you check the apertures of the tanks for the glint of a weapon or a shadow among the moss. Ankita stops and you look down. The mossy island at the center of the tank is clear now, the equipment cleared away. In its place is a mound of dirt, loosely covered with moss. Ashton's rifle stands straight, half buried in the dirt at the grave's head. I buried them together, Ankita says without turning. You both stand there in silence for a little while. You think of questions you could ask about Ashton, about the sleeper. You realize that those questions don't matter anymore. The water drips. The moss trembles. You both stand in silence for a while longer. You both feel it. Life creeping back in. The silence ending. Ankita shifts her weight, and then starts to walk out. You follow her, suddenly eager to be back out of the open space of the greenway. To be away from this place forever. You stand outside and breathe the fresh air. You stare at the green leaves and the stars wheeling above them. That's it, says Ankita from somewhere behind you. You try to think of something to say, but can't. Ankita puts a hand on your shoulder. You turn back to her. At least take this. She forces a handful of cryo chits in your hands. It's what I owe. She looks at you desperately. You look down at the metal bars. Ugly little things, you think. You open your hand and let the chits fall to the floor. They clunked into the dirt and she does not pick them up. You turn without saying a word and continue up the track. She does not follow. As you walk up the rise, the wind picks up and the leaves shudder. You walk faster, trying to outpace your anger. You think of those ugly metal bars in the dirt. A life has to be worth more than that. It has to be. I don't think it's time for the climbing briar yet. I need spores. I need so many spores. Let's go hunting for spores. And fungus. So can we only get Girl caps over here? More spores. More spores, please. And more spores, please. Nice. I would like to grow spores. And more spores. Now we have to wait for how long? 4 cycles. Let's go ahead and give you your spores. And more spores. And more spores. There we go. Sleeper, Rico greets you without so much as looking up from her work. I have some of yours here. Come see. She beckons you over to a heavyweight-looking console, wired to a series of specimen jars, some of which contain your spores. What does it say? The spores you have here are a real cocktail, a selection of types from within the groves, but I've only been able to isolate a few. She taps one of the specimen jars. Here we have the Trichiloma matsutake. Rico breezes through the Latin and Japanese pronunciation as if it was nothing. A species Solheim somewhat modified for use on the station. She brings up a panel on her console showing a chemical composition, all gradient bars and obtuse acronyms. This is the composition of the Solheim modified matsutake spores. Modified? Yes, every species on the eye is a tweaked variant of Solheim's, of course, but that's not the point. Rico brings up another panel, identical in layout, but with wildly different colors and numbers. You see, this is what your matsutake spores look like. They aren't the same? That's the conclusion, yes. Rico glances at the specimen jar as if it might have something to add. They are fundamentally the same spores, but they carry different chemicals, different signals. She leans back and sighs. Solheim might have introduced their own tweaked versions in the beginning, but the groves have, and still are, affecting them. How are they affecting them? It's hard to tell without samples of fully grown mushrooms. She meets your eye, and herein lies her problem. She moves to another desk where 2 trays sit side by side. The first contains nothing but plant mulch. The second you smell before you even look at it. The pungent aroma of the fruiting matsutake like rotting, sodden overalls, laced with an edge of spice. The matsutake here are grown from Solheim stalks, pulled from a spore vault in this complex. She winks. They are delicious, by the way. She sets them aside. The empty tray is germinated with the spores you collected. No activity, no germination. Nothing. But the groves are full. Yes, they are. So here's our puzzle, Sleeper. Spores from the groves won't grow in the lab. But gathering fruiting bodies from the groves is too unpredictable. We need to grow a fruiting body from some of these spores, so we can track it, understand it. In short, I need you to become my mushroom farmer. Actually, I already started. Rico looks impressed. Well, an eager mycologist. I'd never have guessed. I assume you set yourself up in the aviary? I've been eyeing that place up for its proximity to the groves. Bring me whatever grows, not just matsutake. There's more than a couple of variants in there, so I'll need plenty of samples. She plucks a matsutake cap from the tray. These little things are reflections of their conditions. Their smell, their taste, their chemistry. It all derives from the conditions of their growth. She smells the cap. Enough of these and we'll have a picture of what is happening here, of the ways in which this biosphere is modifying itself. Or being modified, whichever the case may be. Rico pops the matsutake cap in her mouth, taking you by surprise. And don't worry, Sleeper, she says while chewing softly. If this turns out to be a dead end, I'll make sure that not a single mushroom will go to waste. That's fun. I mean, I gotta wait 4 cycles for my mushrooms to grow. I think I need to go check in on the bar now, right? Got a couple things here. One more day for the bar. Or wait, no, 2 more days. Dock B2, we got the dock. How many matsutake mushrooms do I need to bring Emphas? 2? Okay, we can do that. Let's go ahead and order some fungus. And then let's check in on my cat. Minus 20%. Oh, sick. The Stray crunches up some of the crackers as you watch. Sometimes they'll let you stroke them, sometimes not. Let's sleep here tonight. I mean, we're gonna have one less stability, but that's okay. One less dice isn't too bad. Or die, I suppose. What are we to do now? $80 cryo for 3 batches is not enough. Is there anything to do over here? I guess I need to be making money or something. Well, there we go. I guess I could go and find girls in the mushroom groves. That way I can just grow the Matsutake for Emphas. Oh, sick. We got energy. Okay, let's turn in a couple more mushrooms. So each one does 2. Well, that's cool. We could just go looking for Matsutakis, I guess. We have a 2 now, right? Do I want to save up? I kind of want to save up as an engage, I think. That feels important. Find a nurturing grow bed for the seed. Where do I grow the seed? Huh. Can't do it here. Can't do it here. I guess I'll just end the cycle. That's fine. I guess I'll take a little sleepy poo. I'm not really hurting for money right now. Not over in the Greenway. We're still waiting there. Let's just gather some more of this. You know what I'm also gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and probably do this. If I end up losing condition, I'll probably just, Okay, we got the caps. That worked out really well for us. So let's see how we're doing. I think we have enough. Oh, we definitely have enough. There we go. Back to Rico. Rico meets you at the entrance to the lab, leaning on her crutch with a glint in her eye. Walk with me, sleeper. I'd like to tell you a story. She makes her way down the corridor that leads back up towards the main commune building. When people first crossed what we call the Founder's Gap into the Greenway, they did so against the wishes of Andre Ehrlin. At the time, Erlin was trying to stabilize the Union and establish some control over the Eye in the wake of Solheim's collapse. It was chaos, competing factions, failing systems, so many dead and injured from the riots. That was his priority. You both crossed through a glass-roofed tunnel, the greenway outside crowded with vines and branches dappling the light. Erlin had written the greenway off, cut off from the rest of the station and linked to a broken spoke. He claimed it was only a matter of time before everything here would die. He refused to let anyone abandon their duty to the Union and cross. They were traitors to the cause, or as good as. Riko continues, making her slow but steady way into the inner gardens of the commune. There weren't many of us, but we believed that what was here was worth saving. We had to keep our plan secret until we crossed, and some of us left people behind. She pauses to catch her breath, her voice cracking. It is difficult to know if from effort or emotion. What we found was a disaster, nothing like what you see here. Half the greenway was leaking oxygen into space, the plants flash frozen. The other half was a swamp of mulch as decaying matter clogged every system. We worked hard, we lost good people, we cleaned up and closed up, but it was never going to be enough. After many, many cycles, we all knew this place was doomed, but we kept on working, talking less and less because we couldn't face it. We all developed a death wish. If the greenway was going to die, so would we. What changed? Everything, Riko smiles. We crossed some invisible boundary, tipped some biological scale, and the greenway started to recover. Plants flowered, crops sprouted. For the first time, we reaped the fruits of our labor. Riko smiles, looking up at you. We thought it was us, that we managed to do just enough to end the cycle of decay. I thought we had saved the greenway. Until today. You pass into the grow beds of the commune, rich with the hustle and bustle of Haifa members planting and harvesting. For a while, Riko is quiet, and you both simply observe the hypnotic movements of the work crews, the eager chatter washing over you like a wave. Riko smiles to herself. I should have known, of course, that our arrogance was unfounded. But we needed to believe back then. We needed a myth to bring more people across the gap. You both move into a smaller corridor, Riko following some direction unknown to you. What you have shown me is that, back then, the greenway saved us, not the other way around. Tell me, have you ever consumed one of the matsutake or girl caps you've been growing? Yes. I imagine they were delicious, nutritious, almost uniquely so, she muses. After all, they were designed for you. Riko has a mischievous look. At first I thought it was the location they were grown in that made the mushrooms from the aviary, from the labs, or from the grove different to each other, but what I've come to understand is that it's the person growing them. The matsutake and girl caps you brought me are totally unique, containing compounds never usually found in similar specimens in my possession. Many of these compounds aren't even digestible for humans. But for a sleeper like you... Riko smiles as she leads you into the internal garden of the commune, where the Haifa members have planted species from all over the greenway. Back when the tide turned, when the greenway started to recover, we all felt something. A response. It was as if this place was not just alive as a forest is alive, but alive in other ways. Communicative, responsive. We shrugged it off at the time, but now I understand why. Riko stops and turns to you. This place is responding to us, adapting itself to us. It is growing fruiting bodies for you. For me, it is adapting, changing. It is, in short, displaying all the signs of sentience. How? That is what I wish to know too. What being is in control here? Riko sits on a bench within the peaceful gardens and gestures for you to join her. When you have been growing the girls and the matsutakes in the aviary, those species so familiar to the greenway, have you discovered any others? Not yet. Riko nods. If you do, can I ask that you immediately bring them here? I believe it's only a matter of time before they bloom. You look around the garden, amazed at the sense of peace within it. Riko interrupts the silence. There is a species of mushroom that I haven't seen in years. It is dark, short, shaped like a club. We first found it in those early days when we were working to save this place. It was around that time that we started to lose our first members. They were succumbing to some infection, some mold growing deep in the dark mulch that drowned this place. At that point, we thought we were lost, and then these mushrooms emerged from that same black mold. We tested them, and saw that they contained some compound that counteracted the mold. They contained an antidote. Of course, as a botanist, I saw this as part of the natural processes of this ecosystem, even if the timescales seemed absurdly short. But what I am wondering is if that antidote was a gift. Riko meets your eyes. Perhaps if you are patient, you will receive your gift too, sleeper. You both sit for a while. Rico seems done telling stories for today. You watch the light playing off the leaves and plants around you, and wonder what forces could be at play in this place. After a while, you stand and leave, with a quiet nod to Rico, leaving her to her memories. Clubhead. I need 3. Okay. I have enough food for today. How close am I to... Oh, Tala's ready. That's sick. Let's go see. Tala comes to you one shift, when the bar is empty, tapping you on the shoulder as you clean the bar. It's ready, she's grinning from ear to ear. Can I try? Obviously, she grabs you by the arm before you can ask anything else and drags you into the back room. The smell hits you immediately when you enter, a cocktail of rich fermentation and chemical sharpness. The room is warm and bright now, the newly installed lights making the place look clean, whether it is or not. Tala has already pulled up a couple of stools around a metal crate, where 2 glasses with a few fingers of pale girl inside sit waiting. She smiles. I haven't even tried it yet. You can see she's nervous. You both sit at the makeshift table, the slight strangeness of the situation making you both jumpy. Tala hands you a glass. Cheers, she says solemnly. You knock the glass back. She knocks the glass back. You do the same. The first sensation is burning, a sharp, nose-clearing blast of alcohol that has your frame querying whether you would like to activate safe mode. You gulp the drink back, and it is only then, behind the burn, that you taste the earthy tones of the mushrooms. The wood and the soil, left behind like sediment, barely there. That's strong. Tala nods vigorously. Whew, that was heavy. Maybe needs diluting? Tala swills the Jarol in her glass. That might work. Open it up a little bit. Tala grabs a metal bottle from the newly installed work surface and adds a few drops of water into the Jarol. Try again? This time the burn is warm to glow, harsh but fading off, and the woodiness less heavy. You taste something floral in among the marsh decay, something fresh and bright that you never expected to find. Both you and Tala meet eyes. It's really good, right? Definitely better. She nods and takes another sip. Damn good. Tala pours some more girl, and then adds some more water. The action's already taking on the quality of a ritual. You both drink. Tala tucks her feet up behind her on the stool, folding her legs. She looks down through her glass and swirls the liquid thoughtfully. What's on your mind? Tala looks up at nothing in particular. My father opened this place, you know, she says out of nowhere. A thought suddenly becoming words. It was his attempt at making a life for us, for my family, when we got to the Eye. You were refugees? From Sinza, yeah. It's one of Ember's lesser moons. She takes a drink. I don't remember much. I was only tiny when we came. I was just thinking about something my father told me when he first set up this place, when he wanted to call it the bwhatsonn, but he was afraid it'd scare off the customers, so he kind of translated it, hence the Overlook. And these past few cycles, when I've been in here, I've been thinking that I should rename this place. She looks at you. The bwhatsonn. The bwhatsonn. What do you think? I love it. She looks away. Me too. Tala picks up her glass. That settles then. To the bwhatsonn. You both clink your glasses and drink up. Tala hisses through her teeth. Still harsh. She laughs, then suddenly grabs your shoulder. Oh, sleeper, I totally forgot. She stumbles to her feet. She lurches over to a corner of the room covered with a plastic sheet and whips it off like a magician performing a trick. Beneath it is a neat little kitchen. A sink, a work surface, and a compact oven with a hob. Your kitchen? She doesn't give you time to respond. You can come make stuff here anytime as long as you promise not to raid the mushroom farm. I need those for the Garol. I was thinking too that if things pick up, we can start serving proper food at the the bwhatsonn. She laughs. Do you like it? It's perfect. Tala gives you a hug, then quickly stands back. I'm sorry, I'm so glad you're here, she grins. Me too. As Tala tidies away the glasses, you inspect the kitchen, checking that it all works. It's small and salvaged, but after what you've had to put up with, it feels like a dream come true. Later, when she's done for the day, Tala comes back through the bar, and you share a glass of the good girl, the one she didn't distill. And this time, you talk about nothing in particular, sharing stories about regulars or discussing the best place to eat on the eye, which, after everything that has happened, feels like a nice change of pace. When it comes time to leave, you promise to cook for Tala, and agree to let her know which shift she'll be working in the coming cycles, and then slip out into the cool of the rotunda. And in this moment, you feel, for once, at home. That was a good one. Oh, I can cook my caps here. Nice. Okay, so now I can upgrade. And I kind of want to go with the engage one. I think I will. That makes sense, right? We're full up on food. I don't think we're really waiting on anything, are we? Might be time to help out the fairy people, right? Not this cycle, though. Maybe this cycle. We'll see. What am I supposed to be doing? I have to bring them girls. Welcome to Episode Flux. Episode Flux is the first of 3 episodic updates to Citizen Sleeper, telling the story of the refugee flotilla which has arrived at the Eye. All 3 episodes, Flux, Refugee, and Purge, are now available. Completing the Supply Girls action will begin the episode, but be aware that it is intended for late game play. How late game am I? I don't know. Let's end my cycle. I don't know that I'm quote-unquote late game yet. We're going to sleep in Haifa today. And we're going to stabilize. I want to be on my best behavior. Not best behavior. What is it? Peak output? Peak, this is what the peak cyborg body looks like? I don't know. If we're going to go for this, then we need to build up a supply of fungi. So let's do it. Oh, we lost condition for that. We did find 3 more caps. That's a good start. I'm just gonna focus in on this then. Let's just build up a supply of mushrooms. There should be things to do as well. Like our aviary stuff should be done. Let's harvest. Hero caps and 2 random rare mushrooms. We did get a club head. We got 1 Matsutake. Another club head, another Matsutake. So that was it. We didn't get enough club heads, but we did get enough Matsutake. Drive complete? Another one? How many club heads did I need? Let's germinate our spores. Four more cycles. We need more club heads, though, don't we? Yeah, we need 3. Let's go ahead and put these 2 in. Wow, we can cook for ourselves now. That's crazy. Is there anything else I want to do? Anything to do over here? You know, I also need to go work at that place, don't I? Alright, I need to bring him his Matsutakis. Oh, he only needs 2. Oh, I already did it. And now we wait 3 cycles. Still need to find somewhere to plant the seed. We're getting pretty close to finishing up, aren't we? You know what, let's buy a couple pieces of scrap so we don't have to use another stabilizer so soon. One more. Then we can use these ones to buy some info from people and get a little bit more money. There we go. We haven't tried to take anyone's info in a while, have we? There we go. We got some Havenage data. That's a Yadigan. That's another Yadigan. Let's look at the other Havenage. Yeah, we'll just do Havenage data so that we can sell it all at the same place. Hello, I have things for you. We're making really good time on, like, all of our stuff we're trying to work on. I feel like if maybe I had held off on working on the ship for a while, I might have been able to just leave with Lem and Mina, but that didn't feel like the ending that I wanted, you know? Oh well. So we still need to wait another 4 cycles. We could sell our caps. Isn't there someone who buys the Garol caps? Well, no, we need to hold on to those. We'll go back across the ferry. And I wish I knew where to plant the seed. Maybe we get it from a quest. I don't think it's quite time to do this. We'll do this. We'll do that after we get done with the getting the club heads. Might as well full up, right? Is that full up? I think that's full up. Maybe not. Now we're full up. I think we end the cycle there. Back to the fields we go, I suppose. Or we could collect more mushrooms, I guess. And spores, if we're trying to do both. Let's go ahead and get some more caps. And then we're gonna go after some spores. Negative outcome, that's unfortunate. Okay, There we go. We need to eat. Hey, we got some energy out of it. Lovely. So that worked out. I think this is what we're going to do for the next few cycles. We're just going to wait for those spores to... stuff to grow. Yeah, I'm hungry again. We're going to go to the Haifa commune and we're going to eat up. Maybe one more. We're not using the ones on anything else, are we? There we go. We got 2 more turns for that. We have plenty of spores for it, so we're going to go after the fungus. Thank you, thank you. And then maybe we get fed. There we go. That's kind of exactly what I wanted. We really are just mushroom foragers now, huh? You know, it's funny, I'm from Asheville, so, like, obviously this is what I was born to do, was do some bullshit like mushroom foraging. Feels right. Alright, let's go ahead and get one more mushroom. I really hope that stockpiling all these mushrooms is what I should have been doing. That's 8 caps. That should be enough, right? That's definitely enough spores. Let's go say hi. Ash sees you coming up the broken spout and raves you into the cavernous bay of the climbing briar. You came! Peak smiles as you walk into the climbing briar's cargo hold, behind a gloomy Esh. They brought mushrooms. Esh tosses the mushroom caps onto a crate, raising her eyebrows at Peak. Peak gives her a look. Thank you, Sleeper. They pick one of them and step on it. Are these edible? Try it. Peak squints at you and the mushroom before delicately putting it back down. I'll wait. We're not so used to fresh produce. Esh is securing crates as she speaks and doesn't look up. Hawthorne doesn't have much in the way of farming. Hawthorne? The installation we grew up on. Esh wipes her off her hands on a rag. XPR loves to name their property after natural things, but that's about as far as their relationship with plant life goes. XPR? This is an interrogation? This an interrogation? She glares. Either way, we are done with that place, which is all you need to know. Ash leans back against the crate she was securing. We're going to need more than a few mushrooms if we want to help those refugees, though. What do they need? Food, water, components, a whole lot of things. Ash stands and walks over to the mushrooms you brought, placing them into a small container with care. The problem isn't just getting supplies, it's getting them through to the ships. Can't you speak to Havenage? We aren't exactly welcome guests, Peak explains. If anyone figures out that we came in with the refugee ships, we'll be quarantined as well. Why is there a quarantine? Peak jumps in. The Eye has a closed-loop life support system, just like any orbital installation. Any unfamiliar illness or significantly increased strain on the life support could cause a cascading collapse in its systems. Ash scoffs. Are we making excuses for these bureaucrats now? Peak turns. We are being realistic, Ash. But these people aren't on increased strain. They are living people. Ash stares at you. Even calling them refugees is just a way of turning a lot of scared, desperate people into a single monolithic group. Ash slides the container full of mushrooms into one of the cargo holds racks. Look, as much as I'd like to chat, we've still got a lot of space to fill in this hold, so if you're going to help... I think Ash is trying to say we need your help, and quickly, Peak says, glancing at her. The refugees behind the cordon, they won't be able to hold out indefinitely. We need to get supplies to them in the next 12 cycles or so. Ash steps forward. Or Havenage will have to bear the responsibility for whatever happens next. I mean, I'll help if I can. Peak looks nervously at Esh. They were hoping for something more concrete. There's 3 things we still need to secure. Water, food, and scrap components for ship repairs. Esh gestures to the storage containers around the hold. Water we can find a way to source, or, my preference, just siphon off from the underground reservoirs in the Greenway. Peak raises their eyebrows. Esh? She ignores them. For food, things could be tricky. Those mushrooms are delicious, I'm sure, but no way can we get enough volume to fill a flotilla. However, I saw an algae stack on the way over. If we can get access... No more stealing, Ash, Peak sighs. I didn't say steal, she stares at them indignantly. If we can get access, we can work the stack, harvest some algae for the flotilla. Those stacks churn out vast quantities in short timescales. And the repair components? Peak asks tentatively. Ash smiles. Just look around you, Peak. This whole place is made of scrap. She shoots you a glance, and I'm sure the sleeper has their sources. They can bring them right here. We get everything before time runs out? Perfect. We get most of it? Also good. Either way, in 12 cycles, I'm going to take what we have and go. But how will you get through? Ash shoulders a container. I thought I'd leave that up to you, Peak. They flinch. Are you serious, Ash? I know we said we would help the flotilla, but at what point... They stop, take a breath. Take this seriously, Ash. I don't know the first thing about breaching a quarantine cordon. Maybe not, Ash looks at you. But they might. They slipped out from an SNR facility, didn't they? Plus, they've been here longer than us. You're always trying to get me to find help. Well, here it is. She gestures at you. Help. Pete glances between the two of you. I swear to... They sigh. I need to think this one through. Meet me at the cordon in a couple of cycles, Sleeper. Maybe we can figure something out. Meanwhile, Ash meets your eye. You can help me acquire the supplies. Discreetly, she smiles. We have to keep this quiet, keep Havenage out of the loop. Once they get suspicious, this is over for all of us. This all suddenly seems a little too real, too dangerous. You've only just found your feet on the eye. This is not a time for causing trouble. Come find us. We'll be out there trying to pull this all together. Ash goes back to the back of the hold to start packing another container. Peak, come help me. Peak glances back at her. Sleeper, look. We didn't choose this either. They lower the voice. Help us finish this. We've set up a base camp on the Broken Spoke. You're welcome to rest there any of the cots while we work on this. They smile. We are in this together. Peak! Ash shouts, and they walk back to the hold to help with the container. As you leave the climbing briar, you look out at the broken edge of the ice ring, where Havenage's cordon blinks with tiny red lights. What are you getting yourself into? Okay. So we need scrap for the flotilla. We need 8 scrap. Oh, shit. Okay, I guess this is our current job. We need scrap. Algae stack. We need to negotiate access. Perfect. That's going to take some work. We have another day before we get our mushrooms. Really don't want to use another stabilizer. So the wastes are a good way to get scrap, and then how many cycles do we have before we get more scrap? Emphys is done. That's sick. They're out. They're out of stuff. So they'll be gone. This is going to be tough. Let's talk to Emphys, and we'll figure some stuff out. Emphys is preparing the Matsutake caps. He cleans them carefully with a damp cloth, before shaving the stalks as if he was sharpening a pencil. His knife slides through them, revealing the bright white flesh of within. These are good, Sleeper. Very good, he says without looking up. I bartered with Ming-Yi for some kelp too, so we can brew the dashi. Dashi? A soup vase. Very good. Emphys slides the sliced Matsutake mushrooms to one side and takes out a closed pan. He opens the lid and you see green wafer of kelp sitting in a bath of water. Been soaking it since last cycle, Emphys explains. Should be good to warm now. He places the pan over the burner and turns it on low. We have some time now. He wipes his hands clean and throws the cloth over his shoulder. However, there is one difference this cycle, he smiles. You've been the one providing the ingredients, so it is my turn to provide a story. Okay. Oh, I need some water for this one. Good. This story is important to me. He gestures for you to both to sit on the folding stools behind the stall. You see these? Emphys runs a hand over his forearm, tracing the circular scars that mark them like perfect bite marks. Conway called it an anchored interface rig, a mechanical control device for piloting a heavy-duty extraction suit in low-G industrial operations. We called it a bone suit. Okay. He points to a pattern of larger circles on his shoulder. They drill in and anchor it here, then all the way down the arm. He taps each scar on the way. It maps mechanical movements to the suit exactly, a one-to-one mechanical replication. You swing your arm, a 2-ton arm swings too. You should have seen the recruitment vids. Strong people in even stronger suits, tearing through stone and scrap. Superheroes. Half my graduating year signed up, from company school to company shuttle. Conway from birth to death. He stares off in the distance for a moment, fighting with the memories. But the bone suits weren't good. The rate of failures was high, and failures meant arms torn off, anchors torn out, broken bones, bad stuff. So after a while, Conway discontinued them. No longer competitive, they said. He checks the broth, turning down the heat and adding the mushrooms. So there we were, hundreds of us with surgical alterations for suits that didn't work. They sent us home, back to the company colony that spat us out, to be cleaners, drivers, cooks. They gave us drugs for the pain and told us to make something of ourselves. When I deserted, bribing some passing spacers to take me into orbit, there were only me and a couple of others left. The rest just faded away. Arthritis, osteoporosis, they folded in on themselves like paper lanterns. That was my generation. The anchor points still ache, still burn. He touches the scars, but what burns worse is the betrayal. I've been on the eye a long time now, but that will never fade. Not that, and not the faces of my friends. Emphys reaches over and sprinkles a handful of leaves into the broth. It is ready. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. I will not let their story die, and as long as I am telling it, it will remain. Emphys pours the broth onto a double-walled metal bowl and hands it to you. The heat radiates through their hands, and the smell drifts up rich and sharp like a pine forest after the rain. You drink the broth slowly, chewing the matsutake and thinking. Emphys busies himself with cleaning the pans in the bowl, sealing the kelp back up for another day. Then he quietly comes to sit with you while you finish your meal. Neither of you speak, preferring instead to let the story linger in the air a little longer. It's not that there's nothing to say. It is that sometimes, in the moments after something, speaking breaks the spell. So you both idle, eager to be in each other's company, Emphys taking longer over his cleaning, his packing, and you savoring the final dregs of broth. When you finally finish and hand him the bowl, you feel the spell break, and the story leaves you both. And as you leave, you know that both of you are somehow a little more empty, and a little more full than before. That's nice. That's really good. Can I still do Emphys stuff? I guess we're done with that. I guess we're friends now. I got to know Emphys, guys. We have 3 points. Engineer level 3 might be good. Since we're about to have to get a lot of scrap. I think that's going to be helpful. And now we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more things to upgrade. I think we go after Instant Karma next. We're starting to run low on things we want to do, huh? Look at all this we've already accomplished. It's crazy. We're doing so good. Alright, we'll go for a little bit longer today. I want to at least try to finish turning in the mushrooms. Because we're just about done with that, and then we can start figuring out how we're going to negotiate stuff. We have a +2 in both of these, so that's good. This is going to be tough, but not impossible. I think I'm going to be greedy here. And I'm going to use a stabilizer. I'm going to end my cycle. Alright. So what happens out here? We can lose condition. gonna buy 3 scrap, so we only need 5 scrap. We can sleep out here, that's good. We got another day before Peak asked me to help him. Let's work the algae stack first. Negative? Damn. We got the energy back, though. That's good. Okay, so we'll start with this. Getting this done in one day will be very helpful. There we go. Algae access received. Now we have to harvest. We can accelerate growth. Let's do this. No, we messed up. That's okay, though. It's also time to harvest our mushrooms. I don't know if we're going to have time for that before we do all this stuff, though. We're going to need more food, so we'll probably do that right away. What the hell? As you leave, you find a note pinned on the outside of your door. It reads, Sleeper, there's something you need to see. Meet me at the cordon as soon as you can. Just keep heading around the ring until you hit the flotilla. I'll be waiting. Peek. You pocket the note and glance around the corridor. Looks like you're doing this. Time to make a plan. We are starving now, which is unfortunate. That hurt us a little bit. I really need positives here. I need to eat, too. Let's go talk and figure out what we're doing. Sleeper! Peek catches your attention from the shadowy corner they were leaning against. Any trouble getting up here? None. Good to hear. Come, take a look at this. They beckon you over to a nearby window which looks across the ruined ring to the blinking red lights of the half-inch cordon. The cordons supply temporary structures, a net of metal struts meant to detect and dissuade any ships from entering or leaving the flotilla, jut out into the black. All around, the tugs flit, securing them into place and tending to the red blinking drones that demark the quarantine. It's an impressive and worrying sight. What do you think, Peek interrupts your thoughts? How would you get through? Use one of the tugs. An escort, you mean? I doubt we could fit all the supplies on one of those tugs. But if it seemed like the Briar was being officially escorted through the cordon, Pink squints at the red lights. But then we'd be stuck inside. Peek turns away from the window and rubs their forehead. Ash has really wrapped us up into something here, hasn't she? The question is spoken under their breath, and they don't seem to expect an answer. The silence grows. Are there other options? If you've got them, I'm happy to hear them, Peek smiles. The way I see it, there are 3 parts to making it through that cordon. They gesture out the window and the strange structure. Deception, distraction, and speed. We'll need all of them for a clean passage through. Deception means tricking the cordon security into thinking that we're meant to be there. Maybe a tug escort would work. Anything that makes the Briar look official. Distraction, meanwhile, will be all about diverting attention so that no one looks too hard at what the Briar is doing. If we can create a gap in the cordon's scanning and deterrent systems, that should keep them busy. Finally, speed will mean making sure the Briar is ready to roll. Perhaps we could do a little work on the ship to get her ready? As Shirley wouldn't mind. They lean back from the window. How does that sound? Risky. Well, they smile. Yes, there's always going to be risk. That's how this works. You've got to be on board with that. Peek looks down at their slate. 10 cycles left. They glance out of the window at the cordon nervously. 10 cycles to gather the supplies and to prep this plan. It's tight. Very tight. Peek looks at you. If this goes wrong... Peek sighs. Just get out, okay? They squeeze your shoulder. I'll follow Ash anywhere, but you don't need to get dragged down with us. It won't come to that. Peek brightens up a little. Of course, but just keep it in mind. Let's get to it, Peek stretches. I'll tell Ash about this improvement to the Briar. And the rest? Let's explore the cordon as best we can and look for openings. I have no idea what guardian angel sent you to us, Sleeper, Peak smiles, but I'm very glad they did. Alright, we got a couple things to do. Okay, I need to eat. I need to eat food. I think I'm gonna cook some of my matsutake mushrooms. That seems like a good idea, right? That one's gonna be tough. I think I'm gonna save the reservoir stuff for high numbers. I just don't know what else to do. I mean, we gotta go to the Bantayan, and we're going to cook. Nice. We've got other things to do. Okay, we got 1, 2, 3 cycles. And then another 3. Cutting it close. So what do we need to do for breaking the quarantine? Peak will need you to scope out and execute a safe path through the cordon. And then we need to gather food, scrap, and water. The scrap is going to be the part that's the roughest. Fine with that. We gotta try again. Okay. I mean, we're still gonna have to buy some stuff. This is tough. This is really tough. I'm gonna go back and cook more mushrooms. More food. More food. I'm hungry. Nice. You get 4 energy for that. That's awesome. Alright, we're just gonna go to sleep tonight. Okay, we lose one of our dies. I feel like that's a mistake to let us lose a die. We got some good ones this time, though. Maybe now's the time to do water stuff. That was great. That was really good. Algae stack. Please give me food. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. I don't have any scrap yet either. This is rough. I just don't know what to do. We are going to use a stabilizer, because I don't think I can afford to not have 5. Yeah, I'm just going to end it. We'll cook some more mushrooms tomorrow, so that we don't have to waste any money, because we want as many scraps as possible. Oh, low numbers. Low numbers means we're probably going to work over here. Four more. Over to the water. We're going to use the 6 on the water, of course. Let's risk it. We're going to risk 1. We lose condition, though. dude. Trying to wrench open a valve, you rupture a pipe, blasting yourself with water. Ash drags you away before you're found. Okay, we gotta be really careful if we're gonna do this. We're hungry, let's go eat. Maybe we use those ones on something safer. We'll see what happens. If I had remembered what I actually needed, I probably would have been a little scummy and, like, saved stuff up for this. We do have +2s here. Interface or engage? Engage gives us energy. Let's do it. No, we just lose energy. Can we get another one? There we go. Wow, I need even more mushrooms. I'm gonna be out of money by the end of this. Holy crap. Losing that condition's pretty rough. Oh well, all I have to do is make sure I have enough money to buy scrap. We'll probably be okay, though. More sleep, I guess. Let's sleep here tonight. I should feed the stray. We're feeding the stray. I don't care if it's quote-unquote wasteful to feed the stray. I'm going to do it no matter what. And you guys can't stop me. We have a rough day, huh? Shit, dude. I guess we're going to have to use up some of our money to pull this off. So we're going to do this. Damn, dude. Let's eat before we continue. I think Memphis has the cheapest food, so we'll go to Memphis. Luckily, doing the Intuit stuff, not the Intuit stuff, whatever that's called, that stuff, the stuff that we were doing, gives us a much better chance to get money, because we get 5 cryo every time we do that, don't we? What is it? Yeah. Anytime we interface, we get cryo. Maybe we just try to finish this off. If this works, we're going to do it again. It worked. There we go. There are things to do here. We have an Intuit, so that's going to be tough. We can sabotage the sensors. We can slice the thrusters. I mean, we definitely do this. Damn, it's already been so... Are we spreading too thin? 2, 3, 4, 5. I really want to make this work. Maybe we're spreading too thin. Oh, we're only going to have 4 dice this turn. Oh, man. Let's get the food done. Three. 4. Okay, so next cycle we'll be able to finish the food. Can we do the water? We could definitely do some water with this. And maybe get a piece of scrap. No scrap, but we did get plus water. So 3 more for water, 1 more for food. And then we gotta work up there. That's gonna be the tough part. How close are we to scrap? We're pretty close to scrap, I'm pretty sure. Scrap is here. One, 2, 3. Alright, 3 scrap. 3 cycles, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's cutting it close, so we probably won't be able to buy scrap twice. We're gonna run by Emphas and get some food. This is tough. We still need to come here and harvest our mushrooms. I think we gotta use our last stabilizer. I'm trying real hard here. You know what? If it looks like we're not gonna have enough stabilizer for the project, I'll just not do it. Holy shit, we got so much. That should be enough. Sick. That's all the food we needed. You're leaning against the metal crates you just loaded up with algae, packed and dried into bright green pucks. Ash hops onto the beside you, flexing her aching back. Is this enough? Ash squints at you as if you just interrupted her train of thought. It's a look you've become familiar with. It doesn't matter either way, this is what we've got. She sighs, rubbing the back of her neck. In these past cycles, working the algae stack with Esh, you've had a little insight into her mind. She rarely seems happy to start a conversation, but is always eager to end one. Despite this, you feel like something has grown between you, something like silent trust. The kind that tends to seed itself in the fertile soil of hard but necessary work. Concerned? Ash laughs. You could say that. She turns to face you. I think I'd be stupid to not be concerned about all this. She's right, of course, though it's hard to focus your concerns on one thing in particular. Can the refugees survive on the flotilla? What are Havenage doing to help them? If the quarantine is lifted, is the Eye really in danger? Each worry is far too large to even begin to process, to judge, and they mesh with each other. More personal worries until you feel the anxiety growing in your chest. You look at Ash and are suddenly eager to speak, to talk about something, anything, rather than just sitting and feeling this growing weight. Why escape the XP arm? Ash pauses, her protective instincts fighting with the trust you've built. You can see her begin to shrug the question off, then she stops, rethinks, sighs. What you need to understand, Sleeper, is that Erlen's Eye wasn't the only place where the Solheim collapse happened. Sure, Hawthorne, where we grew up, was an XPR installation, but that didn't screen it from Solheim going under. Actually, Solheim was the only reason XPR were even ever here. She pauses, hesitant to get into the whole story, but wanting to offer something. She flinches, correcting herself. They are a service corps, you understand? They set up outposts and surrogate systems like this to offer refueling, logistics, and maintenance services to bigger companies with extraction contracts. She gestures to the eye around her. Like Solheim. When Solheim went bust, XPR lost their client, and Hawthorne, well, we lost everything. We became an outpost tasked with just holding on. Keep the refueling platforms running, they said. Keep the outpost stable. Hold on to our claim. She rubs at her head, as if recalling all this was somehow physically painful. Do you know what it was like to spend your entire life in a place with no future? A place that exists only to hold a legal claim to a piece of territory, to shore up breach of contract negotiations between two corporations? It's like living in a... She searches for the word, her eyes jumping back and forth. In a grave. She clenches her hands. So if you're looking for the answer to why questions, that's your answer. We, Peek and I, know what it's like to be forgotten, to be looked out. She stares hard at the side of the stack, the algae whirling against the glass in beautiful patterns, and she doesn't look away. The silence extends and you realize that the conversation is over. S seems angry, not at you, but with herself, for even voicing such ideas. After a while, you stand and start to load the crates onto the power cargo trolley that Esh will run back to the Briar. As you do, you try to catch her eye, but she avoids it, soothing herself instead with the comforting simplicity of physical work. Okay, so food done. Water. We can finish today. This is actually feeling a lot more doable. Excuse me. Let's go for it. Okay. Tucked into a service corridor deep below the reservoir, Esh is Oh, I started coughing, excuse me. Esh is double-checking the seals on the water tanks loaded onto the motorized trolley. Though you are far enough away from any thoroughfares not to worry about being overheard, you both still speak in hushed tones. All good? Esh nods silently and hits the ignition on the trolley to start it moving. You take the other side of the trolley and walk it up the wide service corridor with its flickering lights and Solheim detritus. You doubt it gets used by Havenage, at least that's the hope. You glance across at Esh, her face a mask of determination as she guides the trolley along. Maybe some conversation will make this journey go a little easier. Nah. Esh's face makes you hesitate. You don't wish to disturb her further. You both walk the trolley through the corridor like bodyguards, attentive to the smooth running of its wheels, the balance of its heavy load. Esh seems glad of the silence, but you can't help but feel a little frustrated. Why won't she talk to you? You both reach a wide bulkhead doorway and have to stop to shimmy the trolley over the edge. When you are done, Esh turns to you. I'm good from here. Head back. And with that, she's gone, moving off into the dark tunnel ahead. You watch her go and then turn around and walk the distance back to the staircase you entered from, the tunnel humming around you as you do. As you walk, you try to piece together Esh's past, but all you have are glimpses of a person she once was. She seems to prefer it that way. That's 2 done. I don't feel like we have time to waste. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles left. Hang her first, because we can try to get more scrap at least. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. That's going to be tough. We have to at least try it, right? I don't think I'm going to have enough scrap. I might. We'll see. Let's do some more engineering. No scrap. Please, I'm begging for scrap. No scrap. Please, give me some scrap. We did get a scrap. 1 more. No scrap. That's okay. I think today I really don't want to screw up any of this. This is risky. Also risky, safe. I just need to eat today. And maybe... I don't think there's anything to do here, is there? Just the stuff from before. We can eat here today. Only get 2 for that. That's kind of rough. Let's actually go home and we're going to get some energy like this. There we go. I have 1 more day of all 5 dice. A rapid burst of movement catches your attention. A drone, its fins adjusting as it hovers in place, floats in the corridor. Hello? The drone shifts a little but does not respond. The drone buzzes closer, and a voice gurgles out of its speaker, distorted and strange. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. Who is this? The drone clicks in wearers, and the recording starts playing again. Sleeper, come to the cordon. We need to speak. Satisfied it's delivered its message, the drone rotates and accelerates away as rapidly as it arrived. You stare at it as it disappears from sight, hoping for some insight that escapes you. To the cordon, then. Alright, everybody. I think that's going to do it for today's episode. I went a little bit longer than I expected. This is intense. Hopefully we can work everything out and maybe succeed even? That would be awesome if we could succeed. We only have 3 more cycles, though. It's going to be very close. I don't know what to do. It's going to be tough. Please go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed this. I appreciate you very much if you watched. Comment, let me know about your favorite characters, your favorite situations. What was your favorite interaction we've had throughout this gameplay? I feel like it's getting pretty close to the end. But I appreciate you all very much. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Have a good day.